Hey y'all, I'm Mandy Ray. I'm a stylist in Austin, Texas, and I just wanted to go over my typical wash day routine using all Reverie product. This process looks different for everyone depending on what your natural texture is and what your desired look is and your haircut. But for me, I put a big emphasis on scalp health along with maintaining volume and emphasizing natural texture. I tend to be on the drier side from scalp to end. My hair is naturally coarse, very dense. It's got a pretty large body wave. I am about 14 days since my last shampoo. That is pretty typical for me. I go about 10 to 14 days. So I think that that's a really nice testament to how the product doesn't weigh your hair down and how it still holds shape through all of that. In between that time period, I do a lot of manual stimulation with my boar bristle nylon Roxy Jane Hunt gorgeous brush, usually in conjunction with Reverie serum called Cake. I love it. It's super lightweight, immediately soothing. On wash days, I like to do a oil treatment using their Ever oil that is also lightweight. You can use it on wet hair, dry hair, emulsified with other products or as a standalone. And what I'm using it for today is a hydration prep before shampooing. And so I'll do a couple of pumps that I massage through my scalp and then run 2 or 3 pumps through my ends. I'll brush it all the way through with the brush again. And I like to let it sit for at least 20 minutes before showering. But my personal preference is to do it and then wrap it in silk and sleep on it. That gives maximum hydration, which is always what I'm looking for the most. And so that's where I'll get started, and here we go. So I've just shampooed and conditioned my hair with Reverie, and something I want to make note of with the shampoo is that I like to give it a really good lather in my hand before applying it. That helps me feel where the product is going, and also I do multiple washes, especially since I go such a long period between washes. I do little micro washes, and so I tilt my head a lot to the side and just really work it section by section till I really start to feel that lift that I'm looking for. And then with the conditioner, because it is so clean and it's not just going on and like coating the hair, I really take the time to apply it and squeeze it in there and then work it section by section. And I feel like between doing that and like pulling hair out while I'm doing it, putting it on the wall, it gives it time to really sit and you start to feel that softness, and then it's ready to rinse. And so that is a little tip I wanted to add with that, because sometimes it can be hard to feel like you're getting the cleansing that you're used to if this is your first time switching to a clean beauty line. But once I get out, the shaping of my wave starts immediately. I like to use a t-shirt just so that I'm not creating a lot of friction on my hair, and I always use gravity because when I'm shaping, I want to start building that lift at the root, and then I do like long squeezes. And I like to go in, and because I liked that lift at the root, I squeeze around so that I'm shaping the hair to go up. I move it to the other side and do the same thing. So, once I've done that, I shake up Cake and I apply Pipette. For my length of hair, I like a fair amount of milk. I also will layer it on once it's dry too. But I'm gonna use about 5 pumps, and I go through and I sort of tap it and switch again and tap it. And then I lift it and squeeze it in. I'm gonna be squeezing in rake as well, so I'm not trying to do a ton of squeezing, but I like to make sure I get both sides, especially because in this area of my hair, I don't get as wavy naturally, so I'm trying to really build that shape in. And then with rake, this really helps to define my texture and body. I also get volume from it at the root area. If I had finer hair, that might not work as well with the air drying, but for me, it really helps to hold that shape. And it is the softest wave shaping product that I've come across for my hair personally. And I feel like this product in particular is what made such a big difference in my search for what was gonna be perfect for my hair. So I kind of apply it in the same way as milk. But with this one, once I've gotten it on the ends, I go through and I sort of like squeeze it around the hairline in that same way that I did with the t-shirt. And I'll kind of squeeze at my root a little. I'm using like the palms of my hands, sort of squeezing in like this. And then I take a pretty big section and fold it up. Give it a really nice squeeze. And again up here, I'm folding. My hair can tend to part in the middle, and so I go in and sort of like break that up a little bit. Yeah, so when I'm air drying, I like to have my hair parted. That would be to this side. I start with it going the opposite direction that I usually wear it, and then as it's air drying, I will use that motion that I just did, kind of like this, moving it around to switch the part over. Again, trying to touch it as little as possible so that I don't disrupt everything, but by doing that flipping, I'm helping to build that volume so it doesn't feel stuck in one place. Since my part falls around here, I want that volume to still be living there too, once I sort of release it how I normally would wear it. And so I'm gonna let this do its thing. I do go in and diffuse a little bit around the hairline and in the root, typically, if I have the time to, and that helps to set in some of that volume, but I really like to just give it a little bit of time to air dry first before I do anything like that. And so once it is done drying, I'll come back and show you how I finished off. Okay, so this is where I'm at with my air dry. I still have that lift I was looking for. I tend to wear it flipped on this side, but you could also see, like, once it's parted, it still holds that really nice shape. And my ends are a little bit fuzzy, but you can see it held the definition really well. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of milk on there, a couple of squirts, and then emulsify it with a tiny bit of Ever and run it through, working it from the ends up. And I'm not breaking apart the wave in any way. I'm just sort of trying to bring out that definition. You could use rake in a similar way, but because I already applied it, I don't want to put too much more. But yeah, that really helps to just soften everything out and bring out a little bit more definition. And then go in with a tiny bit of their salt spray and just lift up my root and hit it. Some people like to air dry with this in their hair. I find that for me, I like to put it on dry so that I get a little more grip and